Don't get me wrong, Dead Rising is a classic, it's undeniable, but the remaster is so good that for me, it almost makes the original feel obsolete.
I need you to check it out.
All right. I'm headed back now.
With the gaming industry being currently full of haphazardly compiled cash grabs and multi-million-dollar failures, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster stands as a testament to what you can get when you give a talented team a reasonable budget. The original Dead Rising was an incredible looking game when it launched in 2006. This was at a time where games weren't exactly taking advantage of the hardware that just launched, especially not third parties. Despite the fact that the Xbox 360 was barely a year old at this point, Capcom came out the gate swinging with a game that was as visually impressive as it was fun. You're dropped into a mall at the height of a zombie outbreak, forced to use anything you can find to stay alive while documenting the outbreak in the 3 days you have to explore before your helicopter escape arrives. This mall, of course, having everything you need from a grocery store to a sporting goods store to a full-fledged gun shop, because this is America, baby, and of course every mall has one of those. The game could dynamically change depending on your actions, encouraging multiple playthroughs and thoughtful execution. The mall's not only a huge playground, it's brimming with detail everywhere you look. Whether it's the fully stocked shelves or the realistic layout of all the stores, it's easy to get immersed and lose track of time. This makes Dead Rising all the more impressive when you consider that they were cramming this environment full of detail, full of zombies for you to mow down. Despite how impressive Dead Rising was for its time, it definitely starts showing its age when you play it today. It was released to modern consoles not too long ago, which made it accessible to new players, but that also highlighted all of its shortcomings when you stack it up to newer games. Some of those newer games being remakes from Capcom's own library. Yeah, at this point Capcom had the RE engine, which they were using to great effect to successfully inject new life into old IPs. So Dead Rising fans patiently waited. And eventually, Capcom would answer our prayers with the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. I hate that name. Dead Rising has been moved to the RE engine with more than just a fresh coat of paint. No element in this game has been left untouched. They literally left no stone unturned here. Now, there has been a vocal group of people that have been left unimpressed with this version of the game, whether it be with the gameplay or some of the changed elements of the game that some would consider censorship. And while I'm all for preserving an artist's original intentions, nothing that was taken out here was genuinely missed, for me anyways. As a quick example, they changed the Psychopath's race from a stereotypical Asian to a white dude in the remake, and to be completely honest with you, dude, my fiance's dad was a butcher and he looks exactly like this guy, so I'm gonna say it's canonically accurate, and I think it's a good change. And for what it's worth, anything that's been taken out is far exceeded by what's been put in. The voice acting has been completely redone, the graphics have been overhauled with the new engine, and most importantly, the gameplay mechanics have been significantly improved. I can say without a shadow of a doubt that gameplay video does not do this game justice. I've seen so many side-by-side comparisons of this game and thought to myself, yeah, the new version looks pretty cool, I guess, but when you actually see the game in motion, you realize just how damn beautiful this game is. If the remaster doesn't look that impressive to you when you play it, I highly encourage you to do what I did and boot up the original. Look, there's absolutely no denying that Dead Rising is an impressive game, especially considering that it came out only a year after the launch of the Xbox 360. That being said, noticing the significant change in graphical fidelity is very jarring after spending so much time on the remake. In my original Dead Rising retrospective, I thought that the Willamette Mall was a very realistic looking environment with a lot of detail, especially for its time. In this remaster, it feels even more immersive, brimming with a level of fidelity that I don't think would have been possible without the RE engine.
You gotta go out there and take even better pictures than the ones I just showed you. You think you can handle that, huh?
When looking at the original game, what's almost more noticeable than the graphics, however, is what's actually lacking from the gameplay itself. If your first experience with Dead Rising is the remaster, you'd be completely oblivious to all of the quality of life improvements that have been made here. Like with the controls. You know how aiming, shooting, and throwing objects in pretty much any modern game is done with the left and right triggers? Well, in the original Dead Rising, your left trigger is reserved for your camera function. That leaves all of your aiming to be done with the right trigger trigger, and then to throw objects or shoot your gun, you gotta use the action button, which is X. You also can't move while aiming a weapon. These elements make the controls feel more like you're playing PS1 tank controls than a modern 3D game. But when it comes to the gameplay, it's not just the controls that have been modernized. As you play, you'll get calls from a character named Otis who will let you know about survivors that need saving or just give you tips about the area you're exploring. In the original game, this can be a major pain in the ass for a few reasons. First off, he can just call you at any time, even if it's during a time-sensitive mission or a boss battle. And as you can imagine, this can get very distracting. Worse though is that you can't perform certain actions while you're in the call with him, making the gameplay experience pretty frustrating, unless you enjoyed this for some reason. But this has been addressed with the remaster, along with the addition of full voice acting to Otis. That means you don't have to get distracted reading what he's telling you while making your way through a horde of zombies or in the middle of a boss fight. This addition of voice acting, by the way, extends to every character in Dead Rising, including the survivors.
Help me! I'm too young to die! Ah!
I can't believe those maniacs killed him!
You! Have you seen my wife, Natalie? She should still be around here.
This might seem like a small detail, but it goes a long way when it comes to immersion. This was an awesome addition.
My baby!
Yeah!
No, Grace!
Oh!
Grace! Daddy! Where's Grace?
This is one of those things that may be a little jarring to you when you pick up the game for the first time, or any Japanese game that does this. The characters and interactions you have with the survivors now feel so much more alive when you can actually hear the conversation going on between them. They'll even let you know when you're passing a cool photo op. But the characters aren't just voiced better now, they also move smarter. They be moving different now. One glaring problem that the original game had, even when it was re-released, was the character AI. It was by all accounts just awful and damn near game-breaking if saving survivors was essential to your playthrough. Now, they still aren't perfect.
Omachi kudasai.
But they're a hell of a lot better than what they used to be. This time around, they'll actively avoid letting the zombies gangbang them. They also now have the ability to follow a waypoint that you can set, which is particularly useful if you're encountering boss fights while you travel with survivors. Unless you want them to be like your little Pikmin and send them to your death to fight for you.
Someone can make a great movie about all this. What do you think?
Beyond survivor AI, the gameplay is just a lot smoother and more responsive as a whole. Movement feels modern and not so clunky as the original now. Picking up items and changing clothes happens quickly. Driving mechanics have improved alongside a useful handbrake function. As you rank up, you'll actually know how to use the special attacks that you unlock. You can spare the sideways hat kid this time around, and you can also just fast forward time if you want to get on with the story. I'm sure there's plenty of details and improvements that I can't even think of, but that's what Stippo's here for. I know one thing that may be on your mind is difficulty. Since you can do things you couldn't before, like move while aiming or have access to autosaves, this should just make the game a breeze now, right? Well, sometimes I found it easy, and sometimes I still found it hard as hell. What I can say is that the game still plays to its advantage when it comes to leveling. I lost the case on my first playthrough, which meant I was able to take my higher level character into the second playthrough and have an easier time in some instances. The game still rewards you for your time spent in the world, and it still punishes you for your mistakes, saving included.
Fantastic!
While autosaving is a godsend and definitely a worthwhile addition, don't let it fool you and make you think that it's just an easy pass to breeze through the game. It'll definitely punish you by autosaving your progress in a bad spot that forces you to take an outcome you don't want, or it might even put you in a fight at a disadvantage. All that is to say, manual saving is still king of this game. It's probably also worth mentioning that this game runs pretty good too. It ran fantastic on my ROG over here. ROG video soon. Make sure to like and subscribe. And outside of a little pop in here and there, I didn't experience any game-breaking bugs or glitches that I can think of. In my opinion, the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster is the definitive way to play Dead Rising today. It's available on every modern platform, it plays great, and it's launching at $50, which in this economy, I'll definitely take for a high-profile remaster. You can still pick up the original re-release for cheaper, but I definitely think that the Deluxe Remaster is the way to go.
This is no time to ogle pretty girls, son.
I'm sure outside of the obvious stuff that there's content that was altered or removed that die-hard fans of the series will notice, but I personally don't think that anything integral to the experience was removed here. I got a friend that loves the original Dead Rising and hates every single sequel that came after it. And after he put 20 hours into the game, I didn't see a single complaint from him about it. But do you personally think the upgrade's worth it? Which one would you rather play for the first time jumping into the game? If you want to know my thoughts on the original experience, you can check them out in the retrospective that I covered here or somewhere. Big thank you again to all of the channel members. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. It's been Josh T. I'm out of here, dude.
Anyone there? Hello?
ダメでもともとだよ。騙されたと思ってついていってみようよ。
Not to toot my own horn, but we eat like 3 times more than normal folks.